My beloved child, in this very moment, I ask you to pause not just in your body, but in your soul. Let the noise of the world grow faint. Let the anxious thoughts melt into stillness. Let the weight you've been silently carrying fall, even if just for a moment, at my feet. For I am here, and I have something sacred to speak over your life. You have walked through much. I know it. I have watched you rise when no one else was there to cheer you on. I have seen you whisper prayers through tears you didn't let fall in front of anyone else. I have felt the trembling inside your chest when you smiled outwardly, but inwardly questioned everything. And yet, here you are, still reaching, still hoping, still listening. That, my child, is not weakness, that is faith. And faith even the size of a mustard seed moves heaven. Place your hand upon your heart, not as habit, but as remembrance. Because that heart, bruised and scarred as it may be, still beats with a rhythm I myself designed. That rhythm is not only the pulse of life, it is a sacred echo of eternity. Every beat is a reminder that you are still alive, still chosen, still held. You wonder sometimes if I've stepped away, if my silence means absence. But I have never been more present than I am now. You just need to become quiet enough to notice. There are things I am whispering in this hour that cannot be heard in chaos. You have tried to hear me while running, while fixing, while pleasing, while striving, and I have seen your effort, your sincerity, but now I am calling you into stillness. Because it is in stillness that revelation comes. It is in stillness that the true voice of heaven rises above the crowd. Listen closely, child. There is a storm that draws near, but it is not the kind you can see with your eyes or prepare for with your hands. It is quiet, unseen, disguised. It arrives not with thunder but with softness, not with fire but with familiar comforts. It is the storm of slow compromise, the kind that numbs you, not alarms you, the kind that persuades you to stay where you should have moved. That's how the enemy works, not with a shout but a whisper, not with a sword but with suggestions. And you have felt it, haven't you? The subtle pull toward ease, the gentle rationalizations that tell you, it's not that bad. The thoughts that say, you can deal with this later. These are not harmless thoughts. They are invitations to drift, and every inch of drifting takes you further from the sacred path I've carved for you. But do not fear. I do not reveal these things to frighten you. I reveal them because I love you too much to let you sleep through this hour. I love you too much to let you mistake imitation for intimacy or distraction for peace. The days you are living in require clarity, and clarity comes not from logic alone, but from spiritual discernment. And discernment, my beloved, is only birthed in my presence. Return to the secret place, the place where it is just you and me, no performance, no comparison, no expectations, just your honest heart and my faithful presence. It's in that place I want to meet you again, not with condemnation, but with revelation. I want to show you what your natural eyes cannot see. I want to reveal to you what has been hidden under layers of emotional noise and worldly reasoning. There are things in your life you've called normal that are actually not meant to stay, and there are burdens you've carried that were never yours to begin with. You've been asking me to protect you, to guide you, to bless you, and I am doing all of those things, but I am also asking you to trust me enough to obey me, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it costs something, even when it requires letting go of what once made you feel safe. For true obedience is not measured in outward compliance, it is born in inward surrender. It is not saying yes with your lips while your heart clings to what is fading. It is releasing your grip on what you understand and taking hold of what I am offering, even if it's still invisible. I am not here to demand perfection. I am here to draw your heart back into alignment. When I whisper, wait, do not run. When I say move, do not stall. When I place someone on your heart to pray for, do not delay. Even your smallest obedience opens spiritual gates. Even your quietest prayer echoes loudly in the courts of heaven. Every moment of hesitation is an opportunity the enemy longs to seize, but I have given you authority to shut every door he tries to creep through. You ask me, why now? Why this season? Why does it feel so hard? And I answer you with this: because you are being called. Just as Noah was when rain had never fallen, just as Esther was when her people were perishing, just as Elijah was when he stood alone on the mountain. You are not walking through this for no reason. You are not battling confusion because you are weak. You are battling it because you are being positioned for something holy. The resistance you feel is not a sign to quit, it is a sign that heaven is drawing near. Do not dismiss the dreams that trouble you in the night. Do not ignore the sudden impressions that flash across your spirit. Do not brush aside the scriptures that light a fire in your chest. These are not random. These are not coincidences. These are my signals. These are the sacred breadcrumbs leading you to deeper intimacy, deeper purpose, deeper clarity. You are being summoned not just to be saved, but to become a sanctuary, a resting place for my glory, a light in the growing darkness. I am forming within you a heart that can feel again, not numb, not hardened, but sensitive to my voice. And I am opening your spiritual ears not to hear what the world says, but to recognize the frequency of heaven. Because in this next season, you will need to know what is me and what is merely a counterfeit dressed in light. And the only way to know is to stay near. Do not panic when things begin to shake, for the shaking is not your end, it is your release. I am shaking loose what no longer belongs to your future. I am removing what has clung to you for too long. I am exposing what once stayed hidden in the shadows of your compromises. And though it may feel like loss, it is actually mercy. This is your invitation to realign, to return, to breathe again. You do not have to carry the weight of yesterday. You do not have to understand the entire path to take the next step. I am with you in every movement. I am walking beside you, even when it feels like I'm far. And if you let me, I will show you what it truly means to live unshaken. Now come, my child, let go. Come back to stillness, and listen not with your ears, but with your spirit. For I am speaking, and this time you will hear me clearly. My beloved child, now that you've returned to the quiet, now that your heart has softened to my whisper, I want to show you something you've forgotten, not because you were careless, but because the weight of life made you forget. You forgot who you are when you're with me. You forgot the tenderness of our connection. You forgot that I see you not through the lens of your failures or your unfinished places, but through the eyes of eternal love. I see you as I created you, whole, radiant, set apart for glory. You've worn so many masks to make it through. You've played so many roles just to survive. You've said, "I'm fine," more times than you can count, not because you were lying, but because you didn't know who would understand if you told the truth. But I have always known the truth, and I have never turned away. I have seen the nights you stared at the ceiling, silently pleading for peace. I have seen you hold it together when inside everything was unraveling. Even now, you wonder if it's safe to trust again, if it's worth the risk to hope, if it's possible that the love you once felt burning inside of you could return not in the way it once did, but deeper, wiser, truer. I say to you, yes, my child. It is not only possible, it is already beginning. You may not see the flame yet, but the embers are stirring. I am breathing gently upon your spirit again, not with the rush of a storm, but with the consistency of my breath, my presence, my word. Every time you sit with me in stillness, even in your brokenness, you are saying yes to the fire again. You are not behind. You have not missed it. You are not disqualified. You are simply being drawn closer, stripped of what once distracted, emptied of what once diluted my voice. And in that emptiness, I am pouring new oil, the kind of oil that doesn't come from performance, but from surrender. The kind of oil that comes only through pressing through the weight you thought would crush you, but has actually purified you. Do you not see, beloved? You've been in a season of preparation. I allowed certain doors to remain closed, not to punish you, but to protect the roots I was growing in you. You asked me for growth, but growth rarely comes in the spotlight. It comes in the soil, hidden, buried, covered, and yet it is there, in the unseen places, that the most powerful transformation occurs. Every unseen prayer, every unnoticed act of obedience, every silent moment of choosing me over the world, it has not gone unnoticed in heaven. I am the God who records every tear, who weighs every intention, who rewards what no one else even sees. And so now I ask you to walk with me differently, not with rushed steps, but with reverence, not with fear, but with full-hearted devotion. Let us walk slowly through this season together. Let us not rush to fix, or to prove, or to strive. Let us simply be me in you, and you in me. For this is where true authority flows from. Not from titles, not from applause, but from abiding. I do not need you to shine for the world. I need you to burn steadily in the secret place. Because what I am about to do in your life will not be sustained by charisma or knowledge alone. It will be sustained by intimacy. This calling is too weighty to be carried by giftedness alone. It must be anchored in communion. There are assignments I am placing in your hands that require more than skill. They require courage rooted in love, discernment rooted in truth, and strength rooted in grace. You will not always feel ready. But readiness in my kingdom does not look like perfection. It looks like surrender. It looks like waking up and saying, "Here I am, Lord. Speak, move, lead." And when you do, I will part seas for you. I will level mountains. I will give you words you didn't study for, and open doors no man can shut. But hear me, child. This journey will require letting go. There are people, places, and habits that were once a part of your growth, but can no longer walk with you into the next season. That doesn't mean they are evil. It just means they are no longer aligned. And to cling to what I've asked you to release is to delay what I'm trying to do in you. You must trust that when I ask you to lay something down, it is because I have something better in my hands. You must believe that I do not subtract without purpose. I prune to multiply. I cut to heal. I take away to make room for overflow. And yes, sometimes it hurts. But even in the pain, I am near. Especially in the pain, I am shaping something eternal within you. Let me be your guide through this valley. Let me be your peace when understanding fails. I do not need you to understand everything. I only need you to trust me. Trust that I am good. Trust that I know the way. Trust that nothing, absolutely nothing's wasted in my hands. Even now, I'm awakening dormant gifts within you. The very things you thought were gone, I am resurrecting. The dreams you buried out of disappointment, I am calling them forth again, not because I want you to return to the old way, but because I have refined the dream in the fire. It is not the same dream. It is purer now, humble now, anointed now, and it is ready to grow in the soil of your obedience. Do not be afraid of starting again. What looks like a restart to you is actually a continuation in my divine timeline. I was there when you first said yes. I am here now as you say yes again. And I will be there at the finish, cheering you on as you cross the line of your purpose. You are not running alone. I run with you. I go before you. I strengthen your knees when they buckle, and I carry you when the road feels too steep. My beloved, I see your heart, even the parts you hide from yourself. I know when you pretend to be okay. I know the battles you've faced in silence. And I want you to know I am not disappointed in your struggle. I am not ashamed of your weakness. I am proud of your fight. You may not have done everything perfectly, but you are here, and that alone is a miracle. So come closer. Let me remind you who you are. Let me call you by your true namano, the names the world gave you, not the labels life tried to brand on your soul, but the name I wrote for you in the book of life, mine, beloved, redeemed, anointed, sent. And as you remember who you are, you will also remember what you carry. You are not a victim of your story, you are a vessel of my glory. The same power that raised my son from the grave lives in you. And it is that power, not your willpower, that will sustain you. Rest in it, trust in it, surrender to it. And above all, abide in me. For apart from me, you can do nothing. But in me, all things are possible. My beloved child, now that your soul has grown quiet enough to hear my whisper, now that the layers of noise have peeled back just enough for light to seep in, I want to go deeper with you. Deeper than inspiration, deeper than motivation. I want to lead you into transformation. You were not born for shallow waters. You were not created to live on the surface. I formed you for depth, for communion that surpasses understanding, for revelation that unfolds not in an instant, but in every moment you dare to linger in my presence. I know you've been looking for clarity. You've been asking questions with trembling lips and a weary heart. Where do I go from here? What am I supposed to do? Why does everything feel so uncertain? And I want you to know this. Your questions do not offend me. Your confusion does not frighten me. I welcome your doubts not to leave you there, but to walk you through them. I am not the God who punishes you for not knowing. I am the God who teaches you how to see. I do not shame you for your blindness, I offer sight. And the way you learn to see in the Spirit is not by striving harder, but by drawing nearer. Clarity is not the reward for perfect faith. It is the fruit of intimacy. It comes when you stay close long enough to recognize my voice among 1,000 others. So listen, my child, not with panic, but with peace. The uncertainty you feel is not a sign that you've failed, it is a sign that you're being invited into trust. You are walking through territory where old maps will not help you. The instructions you once followed no longer apply. Why? Because you are not who you used to be. I've been reshaping you, rerouting you, removing you from structures that could no longer hold the weight of the glory I've placed within you. And this is why it's been uncomfortable. Not because you've done something wrong, but because something new is being birthed. You've outgrown the old wineskin. The space you used to thrive in now feels too tight. The conversations that once fed you now feel hollow. The places that once brought you joy now feel foreign. This is not a crisis, it's a spiritual molting. You are shedding the false to make room for the real. There are parts of your identity that I am reclaiming. Parts that the world tried to define for you. Titles that made you feel safe but were never meant to contain your calling. Roles that made you feel needed but slowly drained your joy. I am stripping all of that away, not to leave you naked, but to clothe you in truth, to remind you that you are not defined by what you do, but by who you are in me. You are not your performance. You are not your productivity. You are my child. Even your calling, as holy as it is not your identity. Your ministry, your work, your giftings, they are expressions of who you are, but they are not your core. Your core is this: beloved, chosen, delighted in, carried. And until you settle that in your heart, everything else will feel unstable. But once you do, everything changes. Because from that place of belovedness, you stop hustling for approval. You stop overthinking every step. You stop measuring yourself against others who seem further along. I never asked you to compare yourself. I never asked you to speed up to keep pace with anyone. I asked you to walk with me, one step at a time. And yes, sometimes the path will feel hidden. Sometimes you will wonder if you've taken a wrong turn. But I promise you this: if you keep your eyes on me, you will never be lost. Even your detours are not wasted when I am leading. I will use everything, every mistake, every delay, every disappointment to shape something eternal within you. I will turn your setbacks into setups. I will use what the enemy meant for harm and flip it for good. And I will teach you how to see with heaven's eyes. How to look at a closed door and thank me because you trust that I am guiding you towards something better. How to feel the ache of waiting and still worship because you know that my timing is perfect. How to experience rejection and not take it as proof of your worthlessness, but as protection for your purpose. You've been misunderstood. That's true, but that does not mean you're mistaken. You've been overlooked, but that does not mean you are invisible. You've been delayed, but that does not mean you've been denied. I am still writing your story, and I do not rush masterpieces. I write in layers, in textures, in divine rhythm. And every part of your life, yes, even the ones you wish you could erase, is part of the greater tapestry of my glory. Now lift your head, child. Look around. The evidence of my faithfulness is everywhere. That breath in your lungs, it is proof that I'm not finished. That whisper in your soul that keeps you hoping, it is me stirring the flame again. That quiet strength that rises when you thought you were empty, that's grace. That's me. That's love. I want you to begin seeing yourself differently. Not through the lens of fear, not through the lens of shame, but through the eyes of your Creator. I want you to see what I see, a warrior in the making, a soul who has been tested in fire and has not crumbled, a child who still believes even if just barely. That is who you are. And because you are mine, I will not let you settle. I will not let you shrink. I will not let you hide behind excuses or timelines or insecurities. I have placed my spirit within you, not a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. And now, more than ever, I need you to walk in that authority, not loudly, not forcefully, but faithfully. Start with prayer, not the polished kind, the honest kind. Start with surrender, not the kind that feels spiritual, but the kind that feels raw. Come to me with your questions, your doubts, your hopes, your failures. I want it all. I will not reject any part of you. I will not shame you for the places that still feel confused. I will meet you in the middle of your uncertainty and pour peace into every crack. Your worship is powerful, even when it's quiet. Your prayers are effective, even when they're broken. Your obedience matters, even when it's small. Do not underestimate what I can do with a willing heart. I am not looking for perfection, I am looking for yes. Just one yes, and I can move mountains. Just one yes, and I can shake nations. Just one yes, and I can bring the dead places in you back to life. So today, give me that yes, not just with your mouth, but with your life. Give me your schedule, your fears, your dreams, your relationships, your reputation, your plans. I will hold them all in my hands. And I promise you, when I return them, they will be transformed. Because I am not the God who breaks and leaves you there. I am the God who restores, who rebuilds, who renews, who resurrects. Let me do that in you now, my beloved child. You have no idea how much heaven has rejoiced simply because you are still here, still standing, still listening, still turning your face toward me when so many would have turned away. You may see yourself as fragile, unsure, unfinished, but I see a heart that has survived the fire and still dares to beat with hope. And that is enough. That is more than enough. I want you to understand something sacred today. You were not created to live your life as a reaction to the world's pain. You were created to live in rhythm with my spirit. You were not made to constantly brace yourself against disappointment or to anticipate betrayal as if it were inevitable. You were not meant to shrink yourself to fit into places that were never crafted for your soul. You were formed in my imagino to merely exist, but to carry light, not to blend in, but to radiate my presence. And yes, I know how heavy it's been. The sorrow you don't know how to name. The moments when faith feels more like discipline than delight. When you worship through clenched teeth. When you pray and the silence feels endless. I've seen it all, and none of it has disqualified you. In fact, Those are the very moments that make you most like my son, when you keep going even when it hurts, when you stay faithful without applause, when you lift your hands even as your heart breaks. That, my child, is worship. That is holy. So do not despise the ache, do not curse the longing. It is evidence that your heart is still alive, still reaching, still open. The world will tell you to numb the ache, to silence the hunger, to distract yourself with noise and ambition. But I am asking you to bring that ache to me. Let me meet you there in the space where nothing else satisfies. Because that space is sacred. That space is where I do my deepest work. You've been praying for breakthrough, but before breakthrough comes, I often bring breaking. Not to destroy, but to make room, to unclench your fists, to open your hands, to prepare your heart to receive something greater than you asked for. You see the breaking as loss. I see it as planting. Every tear you've cried in faith has fallen like a seed into holy ground. And just as the rain returns to the sky, having fulfilled its purpose, so too will your sorrow rise again in the form of joy. I am not a distant observer to your pain. I am an intimate witness. I collect every tear. I interpret every sigh. I sit beside you when you can't find words and offer comfort that transcends language. I do not wait for you to pull yourself together. I draw near in the middle of your unraveling. And when you feel too broken to move, I carry you. I want you to know I'm not in a hurry with you. You don't have to heal on a timeline. You don't need to impress me with speed. I am not measuring your progress by the standards of men. I am walking with you step by step, breath by breath. What matters to me is not how far you think you've gone, but how willing you are to stay close. When your heart feels numb, stay close. When you don't feel me, stay close. When you're angry, confused, ashamed, stay close. Because proximity to my presence is not about your feelings, it is about your choice. And every time you choose to remain, even when you don't feel strong, you build a dwelling place where my spirit can rest. Let me make this clear to you. I do not love a future version of you more than I love you now. I'm not waiting for you to get it all together. My love is not reserved for the version of you who prays more, sins less, or speaks more boldly. I love you now, right here, in the mess, in the questions, in the middle of the journey. I do not see what the world sees. I do not call you by your mistakes. I call you by your destiny. I speak to you as you truly are, not as you fear you've become. When I look at you, I see purpose still unfolding. I see a soul that can still choose me. I see light that cannot be extinguished, and I will never stop calling you deeper. There will be days ahead where the world will try to name you again by your failure, by your trauma, by your past. But I remind you, my name is written upon you, and that name is greater. It is the name that breaks every curse, that silences every lie, that lifts you up when shame tries to drag you down. You belong to me. That is the final word. So let us begin again, child. Not by starting over from nothing, but by continuing from a deeper place, from trust, from rest, from surrender. You do not need to strive. You do not need to prove. Just stay with me. Wake up every morning and place your hand in mine. I will lead you. I will guide you. And even when you cannot see the way, my spirit within you will whisper, "This is the way, walk in it." I am restoring your ears to hear again not just my commands, but my compassion. Not just my direction, but my delight in you. I am restoring your heart to feel again not just for others, but for yourself. To remember what joy felt like before it was stolen. To recognize beauty again even in broken places. To laugh without fear. To dance without shame. You may not feel like a warrior now, but I am strengthening your hands for battle and your heart for victory. You may feel exhausted, but I am renewing your strength like the eagles. You may feel invisible, but all of heaven knows your name. Do not measure your effectiveness by human applause. Some of your greatest victories will happen in silence, in secret, in surrender. and I will see everyone. I will reward everyone. For I am the God who sees in secret and blesses in public. I am the God who turns hidden seeds into abundant harvests. I am the God who never forgets. So rise up, my beloved. Even if your knees shake, even if your heart still trembles, rise not in your own strength, but in mine. Rise with your eyes fixed not on the obstacles, but on me, the one who parts seas, who moves mountains, who calms storms, and who never fails. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are mine, and I am not finished with you yet. My beloved child, I want you to pause for a moment and truly feel what I am about to say. You are not forgotten. You are not lost in the crowd. You are not one name among millions, not a faded prayer lost in the wind. I see you. I know you. Every breath you take I have measured. Every step you walk I have ordered. Even the ones that led you through wilderness, even the ones you regret, I am still weaving all of it together for good. You think you're behind. You feel like others are running ahead, building, succeeding, rejoicing, while you're still waiting, still wrestling, still wondering if you missed something along the way. But my child, delay is not denial. Slowness is not abandonment. I have not misplaced you. I have planted you. And though seeds feel forgotten beneath the soil, they are not lifeless. They are hidden, growing, forming, waiting for the right season to rise. You are in a holy season of becoming, and becoming takes time. There is no shortcut to deep roots. There is no quick route to eternal fruit. What I'm building in you cannot be rushed, because it was never meant to be shallow. You are not a fleeting spark, you are a steady flame. You are not meant to burn out quickly with early success that fades. You are meant to endure, to carry my glory in every season. And that kind of weight can only rest on a heart that has been tested, refined, and made ready. I know you're tired. The waiting is real. The questions are real. The moments when you wonder if it's worth it, if the promises still stand, if your obedience still matters, they are real. And I do not ask you to pretend they don't exist. I only ask that you bring them to me. Don't carry them alone. Don't wrestle with shadows in silence. Invite me into the tension. Invite me into the space between what was spoken and what is seen. I am not threatened by your questions. I am not distant when you doubt. I am not disappointed when you bring me your broken expectations. In fact, I welcome them. Because every honest cry, every whispered frustration, every tear you thought was too messy for prayer, I receive them like incense. Because you are not performing for me. You are communing with me, and that is all I have ever wanted, your presence. You see, child, I never needed your perfection. I only asked for your permission, your yes, and when you gave it, even quietly, even in fear, even after failure, heaven responded. You may not see it, but I've been moving things on your behalf. I've been preparing places you haven't even imagined. I've been planting answers that will bloom in a timing that protects you. I know you're tempted to compare, to scroll through glimpses of other lives and wonder why yours feels stuck. But comparison is a thief. It steals joy. It clouds vision. It distracts your spirit from seeing what is already sacred in your hands. You were never meant to live someone else's story. You are a masterpiece in progress. And every brushstroke matter 7, the ones painted in grief. So stop measuring yourself by timelines. Stop judging your life by milestones others created. My path for you is not common. That's why it doesn't look like anyone else's. That's why you felt different, even misunderstood. But different doesn't mean defective, it means distinct. You carry something the world hasn't seen before, and I'm still shaping it. And while I shape you, I ask one thing. Remain. Not because it's always easy, but because it's always worth it. Remain in me. Abide. Stay rooted even when storms come, because storms will come. And when they do, the ones who endure are not the ones who look the strongest on the outside, but the ones who are anchored deep within. Let me be your anchor. I will teach you how to be still without becoming stagnant. I will teach you how to wait without growing weary. I will teach you how to trust when everything feels uncertain. But for that, you must release your grip on what I've asked you to lay down. You cannot receive the new if your hands are full of the old. There are relationships I've asked you to let go of, not because they were evil, but because they were no longer aligned with where I'm taking you. There are habits I've been gently nudging you to surrender, not because I'm angry, but because they are draining your strength. There are mindsets you've carried for years that no longer serve your destiny. I am not stripping you to hurt you. I am setting you free. Freedom may not always feel like freedom at first. Sometimes it feels like loss, like uncertainty, like standing in an empty field and wondering what's next. But if you stay with me, if you lean in and keep your heart soft, you will see the beauty emerge from the ashes. You will see why certain things had to fall apart before they could fall into place. I am doing something new in you, not cosmetic, but foundational, not temporary, but eternal. You've asked for transformation, but transformation often starts with unraveling. Let me unravel what was never meant to hold you. Let me dismantle what was never meant to define you. Let me build something in you that cannot be shaken. And as I do, I will be your rest. I will be your peace. I will be your provider, your guide, your comforter, your defender. When others walk away, I will stay. When words fail you, I will speak. When you don't know what to pray, I will intercede through your silence. When the world grows loud, I will be your quiet place. You don't need to earn that. You just need to return. Return to the place of intimacy. Return to the place where your soul breathes again. Return to the truth that you are not working for. My love, you are working from it. You are not trying to be enough. You are already mine, and that is enough. So breathe deep, child. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the proving. Let go of the pace you thought you had to keep. Let your soul catch up with your body. Let your spirit exhale. I'm not in a rush, and I'm not asking you to run. I'm asking you to walk with me, step by step, moment by moment, grace upon grace. My beloved child, as we walk further together, I want you to know that I see the parts of your life no one else sees. The moments when you smile outwardly but carry a silent storm within. The moments you give encouragement to others, then retreat to your own hidden struggle. You have done well. You've kept going. You've chosen love even when wounded. But now, I want to take you even deeper into rest, into restoration, into realignment with the heartbeat of heaven. This is not a rebuke. This is an invitation. I am not here to scold you for feeling tired. I am here to hold you in it. I am not asking you to pretend that everything is okay. I am asking you to surrender what isn't. Because what you surrender, I can heal. What you bring into the light, I can restore. But what you hide in the shadows will continue to drain you. Let me into those places, beloved. Even the ones you've walled off because they felt too complicated, too painful, too messy. Let me enter the rooms of your heart that still carry the echoes of disappointment, rejection, and grief. I do not flinch at your pain. I do not walk away from your questions. I am the God who steps into the tombs of your life not to shame you, but to resurrect what you thought was beyond redemption. There are promises you buried because it hurt too much to keep hoping. There are dreams you packed away because reality seemed too loud. But listen closely. I never asked you to carry them alone. I only asked you to trust that I would carry them with you. And now I say to you, open the box. Let hope breathe again. Let belief rise again. Let me revisit what you once gave up on, not because it wasn't meant to be, but because it wasn't time yet. Timing is not your enemy, child. It is my servant, and I use it not to withhold blessings, but to preserve their beauty. You do not want what you are not ready to carry. You do not want to arrive at doors I have not yet fortified you to walk through. My delays are not denials. They are protections. They are mercies wrapped in silence. And while you wait, I am not wasting a single moment. I am developing in you the kind of endurance that turns pain into purpose. I am strengthening the roots of your identity so that your confidence is no longer built on what changes, but on what remains. And what remains is me, my love, my word, my covenant. When you feel the most vulnerable, remember this. I am your refuge. You don't need to protect yourself when I am your shield. You don't need to fight for visibility when I have already seen you. You don't need to strive to be enough, I have already declared. You are mine. As one, let me speak now to the hidden battles, the ones no one knows about. The thoughts you fight alone, the fears you've grown used to, the anxiety that feels like a familiar shadow. My child, I want to break that cycle. I want to speak into your thought patterns and renew them with truth. I want to dismantle every lie that says, you're not enough, you're too much, or you're forgotten. Those are not my words. That is not my voice. I speak life, not shame. Peace, not punnets. Clarity, not confusion. And in place of those lies, I speak this over you. You are deeply known. You are completely loved. You are eternally secure. You are not just tolerated by heaven, you are celebrated. I know you felt alone in certain seasons, even surrounded by people. I know there were times you wished someone would truly see you, hear you, hold space for your weariness without needing you to explain. And while I have placed people in your life for such moments, know this. No one can understand you more completely than I do. No one can fill the void within your spirit like my presence. That ache you feel. It is not a flaw, it's a homing signal. It's your soul recognizing that only I can truly satisfy it. So let yourself lean in, let your guard down, let the walls fall that were built to protect, but now only isolate. I am not asking for a perfect version of you, I am asking for the real you. Even your uncertainty, even your sadness, even the dreams you've locked away, bring them to me. You were never meant to navigate this journey without supernatural strength. That's why I've placed my Spirit within you, not as a vague comfort, but as a living guide. The Holy Spirit isn't just for your mountaintop moments. He is with you in the mundane, in the messy, in the mornings when you don't want to rise, and in the nights when your mind won't rest. He is your comforter, your counselor, your constant help. Let him teach you how to breathe differently, not in reaction to fear, but in alignment with peace. Let him teach you how to walk not with frantic energy, but with quiet confidence. Let him whisper to your heart in ways no sermon or book ever could. He is not distant. He is within. And through him, I will lead you to every promise I have spoken over your life. You don't have to feel strong to walk in authority. You only have to believe that I am with you. You don't need to have it all figured out to move forward. You only need to trust the one who holds the map. Your steps may be small, but everyone taken in faith shifts something in the spirit. Do not underestimate the power of daily faithfulness. And remember this, impact isn't always loud. Influence isn't always visible. Sometimes the greatest victories happen in silent prayers, unseen kindness, private forgiveness, and secret intercession. And though the world may not notice, I do. Heaven records what earth ignores. And one day the seeds you sow in faith will bloom in ways that leave you breathless. My beloved, lift your head. Let the weight fall from your shoulders. Let the light return to your eyes. You are not in this alone. You never were, and you never will be. I am here. I am with you. I am for you, and I am not done. My beloved child, now that your heart has begun to soften again, now that you've made space for stillness, I want to whisper something you've longed to hear, perhaps without even knowing it. You are safe with me. Not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, eternally. You are safe to feel, safe to question, safe to rest, safe to come undone, because I will not leave you in the unraveling. I will meet you there, not with judgment, but with gentle hands that rebuild, piece by sacred piece. I've seen you brace yourself, tighten your soul like armor, every time life delivered a blow you didn't expect. I saw you learn to flinch internally, to shrink your expectations so you wouldn't feel disappointment. I saw you begin to hope in whispers instead of bold declarations. Not because you lacked faith, but because you've been hurt by outcomes you didn't understand. And today I say, you do not have to live that way anymore. You can unclench now. You can exhale. You can bring me your bruised hope and place it in my hands. I will hold it as gently as I hold your heart. I want to break the agreement you made with fear, the silent deal you made that said, it's safer not to expect anything good, that inner vow that whispered, if I don't ask, I won't be disappointed. My child, that is not faith, that is self-protection. And I did not give you a spirit of fear, I gave you a spirit of sonship, of daughterhood, of bold access to my throne, not because of your perfection, but because of my love. You are not a beggar in my presence. You are not an outsider peeking through the windows of blessing. You are seated at my table, not just as a guest, but as my beloved. You belong. You are not merely visiting my heart, you are part of it. You were woven into my thoughts long before you took your first breath, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can erase that place you hold with me. So come, my child. Sit with me without performance. Come without pretense. I don't need your rehearsed prayers. I want your real ones, the ones you've been afraid to say aloud, the ones filled with emotion, contradiction, and longing. I can handle all of it. I created the language of the soul, and I understand your tears more fluently than your words. You wonder if you're allowed to feel weary, if you're allowed to admit that you're tired of being strong. Hear me clearly. I never asked you to be strong in your own strength. I asked you to lean on mine. I never asked you to carry what I've already borne. I never asked you to fix what I'm in the process of redeeming. The truth is, I work best in surrendered hearts. Not the ones who pretend, but the ones who trust me with their unraveling. It's okay to rest, child. You don't have to earn your next breath. You don't have to prove your value. You don't have to convince me to love you. I already do. With a love that is unchanging, unshakable, and unable to be diminished by failure. My love does not fluctuate based on your feelings. It is anchored in who I am, not who you are on your worst day. And I know some days have been very hard. There were moments you prayed and heaven felt silent. Times you gave generously but felt depleted. Seasons when you sowed in tears but reaped confusion. You've asked, God, do you see this? Do you still care? And my answer is yes, always yes. I have never stopped watching. I have never stopped caring. My silence was never distance, it was preparation. Some things I hid from your view, not to torment you, but to strengthen you. Because sometimes, if you saw the full picture too soon, you would step into it without the maturity to carry it. I've withheld nothing out of cruelty. I've only ever withheld out of love, because my desire is not just to bless you, it's to sustain you in that blessing. And for that, your character matters more than your comfort. Your integrity matters more than instant gratification. Let me continue the work. Let me complete what I began. You are not a half-finished story. You are not a chapter I've walked away from. I am still writing, still shaping, still whispering new sentences into the script of your life. And even when the page feels blank, the author is still present. Even when the next line hasn't yet been revealed, I am still holding the pen. Do you trust me? Even now when the pathway ahead is foggy, even now when old wounds still ache, even now when your faith feels like a flicker rather than a flame. Will you trust that I have not abandoned the promise? Will you believe that your obedience is still opening unseen doors? You are not working in vain. Your kindness is not wasted. Your prayers are not bouncing off ceilings. Your obedience is not forgotten. Heaven is responding even when earth is still catching up. I am aligning people, timing, resources, opportunities. I am orchestrating it all with more precision than you can imagine. What you see as delay, I see as alignment. What you call confusion, I call construction. What you fear is falling apart, I am rebuilding stronger than before. And through it all, I am not standing off to the side, watching from a distance. I am beside you, every morning when you rise, every night when you sigh, every moment in between. You are never alone, even when you feel invisible, even when your silence is misinterpreted, even when your journey doesn't make sense to those around you. I see it, I understand it, and I am proud of you. Yes, proud. Not because you've done everything perfectly, but because you keep coming back. You keep choosing me. You keep offering me the little that remains. And child, that little is enough. I've always done my best work with little. A mustard seed, a widow's oil, 5 loaves and 2 fish, a whisper in the wind. I specialize in multiplying what seems small. So give me your not enough. Give me your fragmented dreams, your incomplete healing, your hesitant faith. I can work with that. I can work with you. I already am. And as I work, let me remind you, you don't need to rush to be okay. You don't need to jump to the solution. You don't need to fake joy. I am joy. And when you abide in me, you begin to carry joy that no circumstance can touch. So let the healing continue, not in haste, but in holy slowness. Let me renew your strength, not through adrenaline, but through abiding. Let me reintroduce you to yourself, not the version life molded, but the version I always intended. You are being restored. You are being refined. You are being remembered in every heavenly room that holds your name. You are mine, and I will never stop reminding you, my beloved child. As we continue in this sacred conversation, I want you to listen even more deeply, not just with your mind, but with your spirit, because what I'm about to speak over you is not for the surface. It is not for temporary inspiration or emotional comfort. It is for your core. It is for the foundation of who you are. I am not merely adjusting your direction, I am healing your identity. Too many voices have tried to name you. Life's disappointments, people's opinions, your own inner critic, they've whispered names that never belonged to you. Names like too much, not enough, too late, forgotten, failure, burden. And because they were repeated so often, you began to believe them. But today, I am tearing down those false labels, one by one. I am speaking a better name over you, one that cannot be shaken by seasons or circumstances. You are chosen. You are redeemed. You are whole, not because you've never been broken, but because I have held every shattered piece and mended them with grace. You are not who your pain says you are. You are not who your past says you are. You are who I say you are, and I call you mine, not reluctantly, not temporarily. I call you mine with joy, with pride, with unwavering commitment. You may ask, but Lord, what about the times I doubted you? What about the moments I walked away, the sins I returned to, the people I hurt, the days I gave up? And I answer, I was there. I was there when you doubted me and I didn't leave. I was there when you walked away and I followed. I was there when you fell again and I offered my hand. I was there when you couldn't forgive yourself and I already had. There is nothing hidden from me, and yet I love you completely. That is the mystery of grace. I did not set my love upon you because you performed well. I chose you while you were still unfinished. I saw your weakness and still said yes. I knew every detour you'd take, every wound you'd carry, and I still called you forth for such a time as this. You may feel unqualified, but I delight in using the unlikely. You may feel too flawed, but I specialize in transforming the fractured. You may feel weary, but I breathe new strength into surrendered vessels. So stop disqualifying yourself from what I have already anointed. Stop waiting to feel worthy. Worthiness was never your part, it's what I covered with my blood. Your part is simply to yield, to say yes, to take the next faithful step and trust that I will meet you in it. Even now, I am going before you, leveling mountains, softening hearts, shifting circumstances, preparing places you haven't yet seen. You may not feel the movement, but do not mistake stillness for absence. I am working in ways you cannot measure. You've asked me for signs, for confirmation, for direction. And while I will guide, you know this: my greatest guidance will always come from intimacy, not formulas. From the quiet space where your soul learns to recognize my breath, not just my words. From the posture of surrender, not striving. From rest, not control. Because, child, control is heavy. It was never meant to be yours. That's why it's exhausting you. The more you try to predict, the more anxious you become. The more you try to manage every outcome, the less peace you feel. You were never made to carry the full picture. You were made to carry my presence. So trade your anxiety for trust. Trade your endless analyzing for worship. Trade your need to know for a willingness to go wherever I lead. Because I will not send you where I will not sustain you. I will not call you to a place where my grace cannot reach. And even when you feel underqualified, I will equip you as you go. I always have. I always will. Let me speak now to something deeper: the ache of loneliness. I know it. I know how hard it is to feel unseen, even when you're surrounded by people. I know the sting of silence from those you hoped would check in. I know the grief of connection that once felt sacred but slowly slipped away. I know the pain of having so much to give and no one who seems to receive it. And I want you to hear this: you are not invisible to me. Every unspoken cry, every late-night conversation you wished someone would initiate, every time you needed a hug but settled for pretending you were okay, I saw it and I felt it, and I was there, holding you, listening, loving you with a love that fills the deepest wells of longing. And yes, I will send people. I will send kind souls, safe hands, voices that echo my heart. But even before they arrive, I want to teach you that my presence is enough, not as a consolation prize, but as the source of all comfort, as the place where intimacy is born, not out of crowds, but out of communion. Because before I place you in rooms of influence, I must establish your roots in secret. Before I surround you with people to serve, I must teach you to be filled without applause. Before you pour out love to others, I want you to be anchored in love that cannot be lost. This season is not punishment, it is preparation. This waiting is not wasted. It is womb space for a new thing. I am birthing in you, and when it comes, it will be pure. It will be enduring. It will be holy, not because it looks impressive on the outside, but because it was formed in me. So don't run from the quiet. Don't rush to escape the slow. For what I am doing in the hidden places will outlast everything that's visible. And when the doors open and the people come and the vision is finally clear, you will not be shaken. Because your foundation will not be fame or success or validation. Your foundation will be me. Your joy will not come from platforms, but from presence. Your confidence will not come from certainty, but from connection. So rest, my child. Rest not by stopping everything, but by surrendering everything. Let go of what you can't control. Let go of who didn't understand you. Let go of who left, what failed, what delayed, and lean into the now, because I am in the now. Not just in the future you dream of, not just in the past you can't change. I am here, in this breath, in this silence, in this sacred stillness, and I am enough. My beloved child, you've come so far, and I know you don't always see it. I know that sometimes when you look at yourself, all you can see is what's missing, what hasn't changed, what still hurts, what still feels unfinished. But I need you to hear me now. I am not measuring your progress the way you measure it. I'm not watching your timeline. I'm watching your heart. I'm not waiting for you to be complete. I am walking with you through the becoming. You think it doesn't count unless it looks victorious. But I tell you, every quiet moment you choose to believe me, even when your feelings scream otherwise, that counts. Every time you forgive someone without receiving an apology, that counts. Every time you speak truth even when your voice shakes, that counts. Every time you let go when you want to hold on, trust me when you don't understand, or simply get out of bed and face another day, you are walking in faith. And faith, no matter how small, is precious in my eyes. So don't despise your own steps just because they're not dramatic. I am not looking for fireworks. I am looking for consistency, obedience, willingness. And you, my child, have been faithful even when it felt like no one noticed. I noticed, and heaven noticed. And not one act of love, not one moment of sacrifice, not one choice to believe has been wasted. Let me tell you a secret. The fruit you long to see is already growing, even if it's underground. Roots grow first silent, slow, and unseen. But they are what hold everything together when storms come. And you, beloved, have been growing roots. That is why it has felt hidden. That is why it has felt hard. Because I've been making you unshakable. You have cried, Lord, when will I see breakthrough? And my answer is when the foundation is ready to hold the weight of what I'm about to do. I am not giving you just a moment, I am building a movement through your life. And movements take time. They are carved in the secret place, birthed in intercession, strengthened in tears. Yes, I've seen your tears, even the ones you didn't let fall. Even the ones you brushed away before anyone noticed. I've counted everyone. I've held them like treasure. And in heaven, nothing is more powerful than the sound of a soul who still chooses to worship while weeping. You don't know how powerful you are when you lift your hands in the dark, when you whisper my name through your pain, when you keep loving while your own heart breaks. That is where my glory rests on those who know how to pour perfume on cracked alabaster. I want you to stop waiting until you feel worthy to come close to me. Come close now. Come as you are. Don't wait until you've figured it all out. Don't wait until your past feels distant. Come bleeding if you must. Come limping. Come quiet. Just come. I am not afraid of your mess. I am not ashamed of your weakness. I do not flinch at your questions. I simply want you near. Because everything you're longing for is not found in answers, it's found in my presence. And yes, I know what you're carrying. The fear you haven't spoken. The fatigue that lingers like fog. The silent grief of expectations that didn't unfold the way you'd hoped. And I am not ignoring it. I am holding you in it. I am whispering through it. I am inviting you not just to survive, but to breathe again, to live again, to hope again. Hope, my child, not the fragile kind built on outcomes, but the holy kind rooted in who I am, the kind of hope that outlasts delays, that sings through confusion, that refuses to die even when buried. That's what I'm restoring in you, a hope that rises, that stands, that stares the storm in the eye and says, my God is still good. Let me speak now to your questions. I know they're there, even the ones you haven't dared to ask aloud. Why did it happen that way, Lord? Why wasn't that prayer answered the way I believed it would be? What was the purpose of that pain? And child, I will never shame you for asking. But know this, I do not always reveal the why, because I'm more concerned with healing your heart than satisfying your curiosity. Some answers, if given too early, would harden your heart rather than help it. Some things are too deep to be explained, they must be redeemed. And I promise you, I will redeem it all. Not just the outcomes, but the in-between. Not just what was lost, but who you became in the losing. Not just the wounds, but the strength born through the bleeding. You ask if I can really use someone like you, someone still healing, still learning, still carrying things you haven't spoken out loud. And I say, especially you, because those who've known pain often carry the most powerful compassion, Those who've walked through darkness shine the brightest light, and those who've needed mercy are the ones who offer it most freely. I don't just allow broken vessels, I prefer them. Because when my glory shines through cracks, it's clear that it is me, not human strength, that is at work. So don't count yourself out. Don't disqualify yourself from the very thing I've anointed you for. You are not too far behind. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not too flawed. You are right on time, in the right place, with the right heart. And I will use every chapter, every scar, every lesson, every detour. Now breathe and listen, because I want to remind you of something that the world may never say, but heaven proclaims constantly over your life. You are deeply cherished. You are fully seen. You are wildly loved. You are chosen, not by accident, but by design. You were born with purpose, marked by heaven, sent into the world not just to survive it, but to transform it. You are my image bearer, my reflection, my delight. And when I look at you, I don't see disappointment, I see destiny. So do not shrink. Do not silence your song. Do not dim your light to fit in with the shadows. Rise, speak, shine. Be who I created you to be. Bold, soft, holy, true. Because this world needs what I've placed inside of you. And I, your God, will walk with you every step of the way. My beloved child, now that you've walked with me through every layer of your ache, your fear, your waiting, your becoming, I want to leave you with this truth sealed upon your heart. I am with you, not just when you feel me, not just when life makes sense, not just when the prayers are answered. I am with you always. In every silence, in every shift, in every season you thought would break you, but instead built you. You do not need to strive for my love. You already have it. You do not need to prove yourself. I already chose you. You do not need to fear the future. I am already there. So go forward, not rushed, but rooted, not pressured, but peaceful, not in your own strength, but in mine. For what I have begun in you, I will finish. And when you forget, return here. Return to this place of stillness, where my voice meets your soul and reminds you again. You are my beloved. You are enough. You are never alone. I am always, always with you. Amen.